So in this program, we're talking about the person not only is going to lose fat, but they're going to gain lean mass. And with every pound of lean mass that you gain, you burn an additional up to 50 calories a day just to support that lean mass. So the more muscle mass you have, the faster is your metabolism. And so on a program like this, over about a year minimum, most people will gain about 6 pounds of muscle. That means every day they'll burn an extra 300 calories just sitting in a chair. Every week they'll burn an extra 2,100 calories just lying in bed. Every month they'll burn 8,200 calories doing nothing. That's more than 2 pounds of fat a month that you're burning without doing anything because you just have more lean mass. Does that make sense? Anybody here want to burn fat while they're sleeping overnight? And that's why you eat more the further into the program you go. So on those restrictive diets, 95% of people gain all the weight back that they lost, and then they go beyond that because they slowed their metabolism down. When you just diet, you basically lose fat, but you lose muscle. Your metabolism slows down. It becomes easier to regain all the weight that you lost. And when people go on those kinds of programs, their brain's saying, I'm going on a program. And the other part of the brain says, and one day I'll be going off. Thank God for that day. I can hardly wait for that day. What I'm saying is that you need to become somebody new in this area of your life. That's really what makes it happen for people. So the question that the patient has to be asked at some point is, how do you plan to look after yourself for the rest of your life, starting today? And so the principles that I teach them help them connect with how they can make it happen. The final thing, the final step is, when you eat, this is how you stop, you have to starve your body fat. When you eat saturated fat, the fat goes into your body, goes to your liver, the liver goes, what am I going to do with it? The liver sticks it right in the fat cell, raises your cholesterol level while it's doing it. And you basically reload the fat cell. I've gone to gyms over my lifetime where I've stayed in the gym many, many years. I go almost every day. And I see a lot of people year after year going as often as I am, working really hard. And every year they're looking worse and worse and worse and worse. Have you ever seen this? They work hard, but they're looking worse and worse. You know why? Because I know what to do. They're eating foods that have the saturated. They shrunk the fat cells down. They did the activity. Then they ate the saturated fat. It went boom, boom, right to the fat cell. The fat cell just enlarged again and got even larger. You sabotage everything when you eat saturated fat, trans fats, and fried foods. The average North American has 50 to 70 grams of saturated fat a day. You should be having no more than 15 grams, and Dean Ornish would tell you you should have 0 grams. Saturated fat also raises cholesterol, makes your blood really sticky, and increases the risk of reproductive organ cancers and colorectal cancer. These are the foods that have the saturated fat the patient has to avoid. Red meat, lamb, pork, duck, organ meats, any milk or yogurt above 1% milk fat, any cheese more than 4% milk fat, that's most cheeses, whipped cream, ice cream, cream cheese. People go into, give me a double-double. I go, that's a good name for that double-double. You're going to have double bypass surgery. It's only a matter of time. Triple. Cocoa butter and regular chocolate products. It's a disaster. Palm and coconut oil. Now they're not as bad, so you can have small amounts of, say, coconut oil, but you have to be very careful. I don't let them have egg yolks. Alcohol, when you have alcohol at a meal, the rest of the calories just get converted into fat and get stored in the fat cell. Alcohol's off the program. Cheesecake, pastries, danishes, all these things are tough and fried foods. So people say to me, but you don't understand, I have a bit of a sweet tooth. I go, no. I said, would you rather have sorbet or Haagen-Dazs? Oh, I have the Haagen-Dazs. Would you like a piece of licorice or a chocolate bar? I like the chocolate bar. I said, oh, you don't have a sweet tooth. You have a fat tooth. This is the problem in society. I don't mind you having a sweet tooth. People have a fat tooth. And that's what gets them into trouble. They eat the foods that have the fat. I don't mind the licorice, the jujubes, the gummy bear, a little bit of honey. It's when you combine it with fat. This is the sabotage moment in life. So those things have to be out of sight and out of stomach. So again, these are the lower fat protein foods that you can rely on. And then, for me, I discovered a number of years ago, I have a mental health disorder. I thought I was the only one that had this mental health disorder. Then I discovered that a lot of people have it. And here it is. There's a certain point in every single day where my brain stops me and says, you know what, James? I just feel like I need a little something to eat. And so I check my appetite center and how I'm feeling about hunger, and I go, and that part of my brain, and I say to that part, that little voice, I say, I'm not really hungry right now. And that little voice in my brain says, if you don't give me a little something to eat, I'm going to start freaking out. So I become like a crazy maniac where I have to go and have a little something. And I have a little something that it eases the anxiety, and now I can go back and get on with whatever I'm doing. Now, what am I looking for in that moment? A chickpea salad? No. Anybody have a moment like this? You understand this moment? Now, some people are the opposite. Depressed, anxious, upset, going through a divorce. They can't eat a thing. Any weird people like that in this room? Always a couple of people like that. But the rest of us suffer from this mental health disorder. So, in that moment, what are you looking for? You're looking for something ooey gooey, chippy dippy, a frozen dessert, or a bar. Those are the things. It's either ooey gooey, chippy dippy, frozen dessert, or a bar. I know that I'm not alone. 80% of people have the same mental health disorder. They're not hungry, but they go looking for something ooey gooey, chippy dippy, a frozen dessert, or a bar. And then they have it, and they go, that was a mistake. So I give people solution substitutions in those categories, and then I show them the meal plan. At each meal you have a healthy protein food. You surround it with the right carbohydrates, 2 or 3 carbohydrates. So I like them to have a protein shake for breakfast, like the one that we develop. They can have that as their main staple. Or 2 days a week they could have low-fat yogurt or skim milk with cereal, berries. For lunch they'll have chicken burger, veggie burger, salads. So they're having a main low-fat protein food surrounding with some carbohydrates. For dinner, the low-fat protein like broiled salmon surrounded with healthy carbs, broccoli. You get the idea, small fruit salad. And then in those moments of temptation, they choose a solution substitution that I show them in each of those categories that is allowable in that 10% of the cheap carbohydrate foods that we talked about. So this allows people to personalize it to their own food preferences, their own timetable. If they don't like turkey, they can have chicken. They're allergic to soy, they can have something else. They've got a gluten sensitivity, they don't have to have gluten. The idea is to give them the flexibility that will allow them to use what I call the 2-staple nutrition system in their day-to-day life in a way that's going to be palatable for them. And of course, once I can get them to add some strength training, their lean mass will grow faster and their metabolism will be faster, but I don't always do that in the very beginning. But if I can get them doing that, it's also very helpful. And then finally, I put them on a fat metabolizing supplement that has chromium hydroxycitric acid and also green tea catechins from decaffeinated green tea. Why? Because the evidence shows that chromium will improve insulin function at the insulin receptor, so they won't convert carbs into fat so much. They'll gain lean mass faster. The hydroxycitric acid stops the conversion of carbs into fat in the liver. And the catechins from green tea turn on the person's brown fat, so they'll burn more calories while they're at rest, but it's not a stimulant to the central nervous system or the heart. It's totally safe to do. So I usually make that happen for them. So that's the program that I've helped really hundreds of people discover that they can actually get into shape and not only lose the weight, but actually become more fit and more functional over the lifetime. What I've done for the natural health product industry is I've created this kit. It's my Dr. Machino's clinical weight loss program. And so in this box is the actual booklet that explains to the person exactly how you eat, why you eat, the 2-staple system, food preparation, the shopping list. It's all here. If they just read this, they'd know exactly what to do. And also what's in here is the CD, and you're all going to get a copy of this recording, but I go out and do a lot of consumer seminars, and so I get large groups of people, and I teach them how to lose weight in a seminar, something like this, except it's a little bit longer, it's more fun, but at the end of listening to the CD, they're motivated, they're excited, they understand the principles of the program, so when they read this, it makes a whole lot of sense to them, plus it gives them motivation once they hear me talk about it to really want to do it, and helps to keep them on track for the long term. In that box is also our Adiva Lean Mass Protein Plus Shake, which has the 25 grams of protein plus 5 to 8 grams of fiber, depending on the flavor that you pick. So it gives you long-term satiety, just a few carbohydrate calories that will help to sustain the person till lunchtime. And also our Body Burn Supplement, which has the chromium, the hydroxycitric acid, and the decaffeinated green tea catechins. Other things to consider, they should be on a multiple vitamin and essential oils. If they have a low thyroid, but the doctor says, you know, it's not low enough for me to put you on a prescription thyroid, they should be taking a Diva Thyroid Support Formula. And people who are really stressed out, sometimes they gain weight because they're pumping out so much cortisol, it blocks the function of thyroid hormone at the cell level, and so they tend to gain fat and become inflamed, they have fatigue, because their adrenals are actually pumping out too much cortisol. So you need adaptogens from something like a Diva Adrenal Support Formula. So finally, what I would hope today, all of you that came today, Tonda at the back has a copy of that CD audio disc so you can listen to it, and hopefully you'll like it. I hope that you'll come to the booth, the Adiva booth. What's the number, Tonda?
2216.
2216, and you can taste the shake tomorrow. They'll be there demoing it. And I thank you very much for choosing this workshop. I appreciate you coming out. Have a great show. You can always contact me at drjames@adiva.com. Thanks to our distributor EcoTrend and to Tonda for doing such a great job as our national sales manager. And say hello to Mr. Brad Whitehead, our new COO of Adiva Nutritionals. Thank you very much.